In 2025, Airbus delivered 793 aircraft, more than 2 planes every single day. But that's not the most shocking number. Its order backlog now exceeds 8,700 jets. At current production rates, Airbus is effectively sold out for nearly a decade. Airlines aren't just buying planes for next year, they're securing capacity for the 2030s. So what's driving this massive demand? Why are delivery slots disappearing so fast? And what does Airbus's dominance mean for Boeing, ticket prices, and the future of global travel? Because right now, the biggest problem in aviation isn't selling airplanes, it's building them fast enough. To understand why Airbus is dominating commercial aviation right now, you have to look at the sheer scale of what the company achieved in 2025. Airbus delivered 793 aircraft in a single year. That's more than 2 airplanes leaving the factory every day. In an industry where each aircraft is a complex machine built from millions of components supplied by hundreds of companies across multiple countries, this level of output is extraordinary. But deliveries are only part of the story. The real headline is the backlog. Airbus now has more than 8,700 aircraft on order. At current production rates, that represents nearly 9 to 10 years of work already sold. In other words, if an airline places a large order today, it may not receive those aircraft until the early 2030s. Most of this demand is concentrated in the A320neo family, the narrow-body aircraft that has become the backbone of modern aviation. These single-aisle jets are used for short and medium-haul routes, the kind of flights that make up the majority of global air travel. And demand isn't coming from just one region. Airlines in India, the Middle East, Europe, Southeast Asia, and North America are all expanding their fleets. Low-cost carriers are placing massive orders to support aggressive growth plans, while full-service airlines are modernizing older fleets to reduce fuel costs and meet stricter environmental standards. To keep up, Airbus is pushing production to new levels. The company is ramping A320 family output towards 75 aircraft per month by 2027, a rate never seen before in commercial aviation. Assembly lines are expanding in Europe, the United States, and China, and suppliers across the global aerospace network are being pushed to increase capacity. But scaling aircraft production isn't like scaling smartphones or cars. Every increase requires trained labor, certified parts, engine availability, and strict regulatory approval. Even small disruptions in the supply chain, from avionics to seat manufacturers, can slow deliveries. This is what makes Airbus's current position so powerful. Demand is strong, production is rising, and the order book is locked in for nearly a decade. But this raises an important question. Why are airlines rushing to secure aircraft so far in advance? Because the global travel market isn't just recovering, it's entering a new growth phase, and the competition for aircraft has never been more intense. For decades, commercial aviation was built around a simple reality, a global duopoly. If an airline needed aircraft, it had 2 choices, Airbus or Boeing. The balance between the 2 companies shifted over time, but competition remained relatively even. That changed in recent years. Boeing has faced a series of challenges that have slowed production, delayed deliveries, and shaken airline confidence. The problems began with the 737 MAX crisis, which grounded the aircraft worldwide and forced airlines to rethink their fleet plans. Even after the MAX returned to service, the effects didn't disappear. Production ramp-ups were cautious, regulators increased oversight, and airlines remained sensitive to potential delays. Then came new issues. Quality control concerns, manufacturing defects, supplier disruptions, and increased regulatory scrutiny have all limited Boeing's ability to increase output. At times, deliveries slowed significantly as the company worked through inspections and fixes. For airlines, the situation created a serious problem. Air travel demand was returning quickly. Networks needed to expand. Older aircraft needed replacement. But delivery timelines became uncertain. And in aviation, uncertainty is expensive. If a carrier can't get aircraft on time, it can't open new routes, increase frequencies, or compete effectively in fast-growing markets. So many airlines made a practical decision. They shifted orders to Airbus. In several major fleet announcements over the past few years, airlines that traditionally operated mixed fleets or even leaned toward Boeing placed large new orders for Airbus aircraft instead. One aircraft in particular has driven this shift, the A321neo. With its longer range and higher capacity, the A321neo allows airlines to operate routes that previously required larger wide-body aircraft, but at much lower operating costs. It has become one of the most in-demand aircraft in the world, and Boeing currently has no direct equivalent in production. As a result, Airbus has gained significant ground in the narrow-body market, which represents the largest and most profitable segment of commercial aviation. But this shift isn't just about market share for the next few years. Aircraft orders lock airlines into long-term fleet strategies. Training, maintenance, spare parts, and operational planning are all built around those choices. And once an airline commits heavily to one manufacturer, switching later becomes difficult and expensive. That's why Boeing's production challenges didn't just create short-term pressure. They helped Airbus secure a structural advantage that could shape the balance of the aviation industry for the next decade. At first glance, being sold out for nearly 10 years sounds like the perfect position for Airbus. Demand is strong, the order book is full, production lines are secured far into the future. But in aviation, a massive backlog is both a strength and a responsibility. Because every aircraft in that backlog represents an airline that is planning its future around a specific delivery date. And if those dates slip, the impact can be significant. For airlines, limited availability has created a new reality. Delivery slots for popular models, especially the A320neo and A321neo, are extremely difficult to secure. Some carriers are now waiting years just to receive their first aircraft from a new order. This has changed the balance of power in the industry. Leasing companies have become more influential since they often hold earlier delivery positions. Airlines that need aircraft quickly may have to lease instead of buying, often at higher costs. And those higher costs don't stay inside the industry. They eventually reach passengers. When airlines can't expand capacity as quickly as demand grows, ticket prices tend to remain higher. In some markets, limited aircraft availability is already slowing route expansion and reducing competition. There's another side effect. Because new aircraft are harder to obtain, many airlines are keeping older planes in service longer than planned. While modern aircraft are more fuel efficient and environmentally friendly, fleet renewal is now happening more slowly in some regions. For Airbus, the pressure is just as intense. Increasing production is not simply a matter of building faster. Every aircraft depends on a global supply chain: engines, avionics, composite materials, cabin equipment, and thousands of specialized components. And the aerospace supply chain is still recovering from pandemic-era disruptions. Engine manufacturers, in particular, remain a critical bottleneck. Labor shortages, raw material constraints, and supplier capacity limits all affect how quickly Airbus can increase output. At the same time, quality cannot be compromised. The aviation industry operates under strict safety standards, and any manufacturing issue can trigger inspections, delays, or regulatory action. Exactly the kind of problems that have affected competitors in recent years. That's why Airbus is taking a cautious approach to ramping production. Because today, the biggest risk isn't a lack of demand. It's the challenge of increasing output without breaking the system that supports it. And how Airbus manages this balance will play a major role in shaping the future of global aviation. Airbus's massive backlog isn't just a sign of strong demand, it's shaping the future of aviation itself. First, we're entering what many call the A321 era. Long-range narrow-body aircraft are now capable of flying routes that once required larger wide-body jets. That means airlines can open thinner, more flexible routes with lower risk and better economics. Second, fleet strategies are changing. Airlines are simplifying operations by standardizing around fewer aircraft types. And increasingly, those fleets are built around Airbus models. Once those decisions are made, they tend to last for decades. Third, Airbus now has stronger pricing power. When demand exceeds supply, manufacturers gain leverage in negotiations, a position that was rare in commercial aviation for many years. And finally, the barrier to entry is enormous. Developing a new commercial aircraft program costs tens of billions of dollars and takes years of certification. Even new competitors will need a long time to challenge Airbus at scale, which leads to the big picture. Airbus didn't just have a strong year. With more than 8,700 aircraft on order, it has visibility, demand, and strategic momentum locked in for nearly a decade. And that dominance may define the next era of global aviation.